track process. It's about growing your career or evolving your career. Each time we meet an obstacle or a frustration or a challenge in our life or a career or our business, it's an opportunity to grow. This is nature's law, and nature's law says we grow at the border of chaos and order. Chaos is when we feel like we're not inspired, we feel like we're not motivated, we feel like we've been given a thump, we feel like we're not making progress, we feel like we're in the wrong job, we feel like we're in the wrong relationship. These are the chaoses that nature invests in your life in order for you to evolve. And you might think that nature invests order in your life to make you evolve. In other words, when things are going well, you're evolving. But that's not the case. You evolve at the border of chaos and order. So in between being in chaos and in between being in order, halfway between those two, you are at the maximum rate of evolution of your life. You're at the maximum rate of growth of your business or relationship or your career. So let's look at how we work on that. The first thing is to recognize that every time we get challenged or into a frustration, we must return to ground zero. We must, whenever we feel like we're in the wrong job, wherever we feel like we're in the wrong relationship, where we feel like we're in the wrong life, it means it's time to let go or deal with something that we've been doing in the past that is no longer serving us. A great quote is, if nothing changes, nothing changes. But the question is, what do we change? Most people will try and change their underpants, change their partner, change their job, change their boss, change their world, change their religion, change their yoga class, change the color of their shirt, change their hairstyle. They will change their teacher, they will change their therapist, they will change their investment. But the one thing they don't change is their life process, what they do, what they think, because their beliefs are their identity. And so most people are trying to say, stay with an identity, stay with a belief pattern and change their world. Well, this is sort of ridiculous. And that's like changing the forest because we got a thorn in our foot, or trying to coat the world with leather instead of wearing leather sandals. The ultimate opportunity we have in life is not to change a single thing around us, but to change our approach to it. And I'd like to teach you that step first in this video. So the first step is love the life you've got. When you're facing challenge, love what you've got. Don't try and change it. Learn and evolve and learn to love what you've got. Now, we do this through an acronym called REAL. Be real. Now, real means that there is nothing that can't be loved. There's nothing you've done or not done that's not worthy of love. There's nothing that anybody else has done or not done that's not worthy of love. And you might get all uppity and say, oh, they're not as good as me, or they're not right, or they did something wrong, or they broke the law, or they did this. That's all human stuff. That's all human emotion. And you can't base your life, your inspiration, your heart on human emotion or human emotional laws or morals and ethics created by religious institutions which are for mass consciousness. You must base your life on the fact that there's nothing you've done or not done that's not worthy of love, or there's nothing that anyone else has done or not done that's not worthy of love. And that's real. That's the reality of life. So the first thing is we need to get a grip. We need to get a grip that actually we're in the right place. The second thing we need to do is re-energize. That means go out and get fitter, younger, lose some weight, get healthier. And I think that this is most underestimated in people's transitions between jobs, or transitions in relationships, or transitions in their careers or businesses, that they underestimate how important it is to rejuvenate, to detox, to re-engage their whole physical metabolism in a sense of energizing, and to create a greater energy field through the whole body. And that's fitness, basically, eating right, sleeping right, etc., etc. The third step is an attitude of gratitude. An attitude sickness is a virus. It's toxic. It not only a bad attitude at work not only affects others around you at work, but it affects your family and it affects your health. It affects your business, it affects your relatives, it affects your partner, it affects everybody that knows you. And so there's a great opportunity when things have gone wrong to shift your attitude from an attitude of stinking thinking to an attitude of gratitude. And learning how to be grateful for what's going on around you is called the discard process. And it's an easy process of applying nature's law to any situation to see how it's worthy of love. Finally, we get back to life. Now, life is the 7 areas of life, and what happens quite often is that we prioritize the area that's in most pain. So, for example, if we're in relationship problem, we think that is our priority. But what the wisest thing to do is to remember that there are 7 areas of life, 7 areas of balance, 7 areas of focus, and 6 are probably doing okay, even though the relationship one is not, or even if the relationship one is doing well and the career one is not doing so well, you can say, well, 6 other areas of my life are doing well. And so life balance means balancing each individual sector of life, not against each other, not saying I sacrifice my health in order to build my business or sacrifice my career in order to build my relationship. Those are regrettable and most unfortunate compromises people make in their life. There's no reason why you can't be balanced and therefore fulfilled in all 7 areas of life. Now that's how we evolve to capture the trauma or the trouble or the chaos or the challenge of our current reality. So we get back into this moment, we turn up, we arrive back in ground zero, we build ourselves an attitude of gratitude, we get real again. And real is really important. Real means that you're back in a healthy space. Even though you may not know at this point in time where you want to go, you're back doing what you love. You love the life you've got. And that's a very important step. The second step is to imagine the life you want. And I call this step the give step, which is an acronym again for gratitude, inspiration, vision, and enthusiasm. Gratitude we covered by being real. So by the time we get to the second step, which is to imagine the life we want, we've already got the gratitude for what is. Gratitude for what is liberates you, because it means you get fulfilled. You get fulfillment in what is already there. If we try running away from what we've got, if we are angry at it, or if we're disappointed in it, or frustrated with where we are, we'll run into it. Nothing affects the future more than the unlived life of the past. So what we judged in the past, we breed, attract, to become in the future. What we judged in the past, we breed, attract, to become in the future. So there's no even necessity to waste the energy running away from something we don't like, running away from a job we don't like, a relationship we don't like, a self we don't like, an overweight we don't like, or a business we don't like. There's no use running away from that. What the necessity to do is to get real with it, to love it, appreciate it, be thankful for it, be grateful for it. Then sit down with that attitude already accomplished and vision where we want to be. That will be different to where we are. Of course it will. It must be. Every human being lives off hope. Hope of development, hope of growth, hope of new futures, hope of expansion. And so there's not one single human being, not even the dully pajamas, who is walking around saying, I just want the status quo. Because that's just not going to earn him the merit that he will derive by being a monk. He will want the status quo to improve. He prays for the health of all sentient beings. He prays for the liberation of Tibet. Now, it doesn't mean he's not thankful for what he's got. He is thankful, but he also has a vision, a dream, a hope of the future. And so we say in this second step, the give metaphor, is to firstly imagine the future, dream the future, believe that it's possible, the future, and the fourth thing is then create it. And that's what I'd like to talk to you about here. We've got inspired about the future. Let's vision it. Let's let's use our imagination. Let's use our dreams to step those dreams down into tangible words and say, let's create 7 visions of the future that include our relationship, not just more of the same, not just, I'm going to have more of tennis or more of this. Vision means to step outside the current reality and create something that you dream, create something you can imagine that's not based on current reality. Otherwise, it's not a dream, is it? And finally, enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is the energy that you invest in what you do. And enthusiasm about the future means you're motivated for it. You're engaged in it. You feel the power of the future in the present. So a real good vision of the future, a real good dream, is you are living it right now. And so it's a vision of the future is really the expansion of the present moment into the future, including the future. And so there is a sense of drive and a sense of enthusiasm towards it. And finally, the third step we would take somebody through in helping them go from where they are, dissatisfaction or frustration, to a state of growth and a state of harmony back in themselves again, is set and forget. And I call this home ground advantage. When we finally get to grow, we feel this sense of harmony in us. We feel this sense of presence and place, and we feel this sense of authenticity in what we're doing. Now, it doesn't last very long, because very soon after that we'll get frustrated again. But what happens in this, and I call it home ground advantage, when you're home in your heart and you've got your gratitude for the past, you've got real, you've got your give, you've got your vision. And now all we have to do is every single day of your life, do the things, the steps, the little steps that will eventually cause the future to manifest. This is home ground advantage. It's a relationship that is built on the number one fan in your life. Your number one member of your fan club is your partner. Number 2 and 3 are your kids, maybe. But create around you a fan club and have home ground advantage. It's in a sport metaphor. Home teams win more often than they do away. That's a statistic in every sport in the world, including surfing. So there's no reason why you can't utilize home ground advantage, a home that feels great. But not only that, a home in your heart that is both grateful for what it's got, which is real, and giving for what it wants, and then sets and forgets, and goes about every single day with the disciplines that make a day a stepping stone towards the visions and goals and dreams of your life. So, love the life you've got. We build through 3 phases. We go from a challenge, we build, we measure, we learn, and we fill the gap. So what we're trying to do the whole time is minimize the total time through the loop of getting frustrated, annoyed about something, and returning back to our home ground advantage, because I think we want to live in home ground advantage. Finally, we can create for ourselves what could be called an unfair advantage over others in career and business development. And there are 5 different values that I think are essential for this. I'll explain them here. Energy, which means discard the past, get a clear head, get inspired in life, an attitude of gratitude, no regrets, focus on daily disciplines. Second value is vitality, super health, eat for life, focus on stamina, exercise in the fresh air, rejuvenate, play, have some fun, and stretch. Third thing, be optimistic. The best way to be optimistic is to spend time in nature. Nature is the most optimistic driving experience in the world. Connect to nature and you connect to what's called biophilia, the natural affinity in your heart and soul and body and being to be connected to its roots. So connecting to nature is an art form. It's the best meditation on earth, to go out and play with a leaf or smell a flower. And that's a third value of a visionary individual. The next step is love. Love yourself means to really recognize yourself, to understand your values, to understand your merits, to understand your gifts, to understand your strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats, to understand yourself, to understand your constitution. And to love self is not to want to change it. To love self is not to want to fix something, to turn strengths to weaknesses or weaknesses to strengths. It's to recognize and to say to yourself over and over again, there's nothing I've done or not done that's not worthy of love. And to find where your strengths are, find where your strengths aren't. And if there's an education process that can help you take your not strengths into strengths, good luck and do it. But don't judge yourself. Don't judge yourself. Understand yourself. It's really, when somebody says, who are you? This is the area of life to love. To love self means to love other. To love nature means to love self. The next step is visionary. Imagination, dreams, visions, goals, these are essential because they make a gap. And we must have a gap. It's a healthy thing to have a gap. There must be a gap between what's happening today and what you'd love to happen tomorrow. There must be that gap. It's called hope. And you must believe in that gap. You must have dreams about that gap. You must believe that you can fill that gap. And the bigger the gap, the more important it is to chunk it down, to chunk it down, to chunk it down into daily steps. Because if you have a massive big dream and you don't have daily steps, you'll get depressed. So the ability to dream big, to imagine big, to vision big, is a skill that many creative people have, but they also aren't coached on the skill to chunk it down, chunk it down, chunk it into yearly, monthly, weekly, daily steps. And these little steps can be called goals, but they're little daily habits. The habit of, for example, breathing deep can be linked to scuba diving in 5 years' time. And if you practice that every day, the scuba diving will come, the ability to dive deep will come, and that daily practice will in turn just create a habit, and that habit will lead to an outcome. And that can happen in all 7 areas of life: in financial, spiritual, social, career, health, relationship, and mental. It can happen in every area of life. You can have your gaps, and you can fill those gaps by daily habits, by chunking it down into bite-sized chunks. And that's the old metaphor: how do we eat an elephant? One bite at a time. The next step is visionary, and the next step is empowered. Empowered means that nothing is done half-heartedly. Empowered means that you know that if you fail, it's because you failed, and you chose to fail, and that was, if a relationship ended, you're not a victim. If a job is not rewarding for you, it's because it's not because of the job. It's to stop blaming the world for your woes and your problems and your challenges and your disappointments, to know that you've been blessed by the creation with every card you need to play in your life at the moment of your birth. And if anything is not going perfect, if anything is not going according to Hoyle, if you've got a vision and you're not going in that direction, it's simply because you're not playing your cards. Don't blame the world. Don't be a victim. Take the power. Be empowered. Don't blame somebody at work, a boss or a subordinate or the bus or the tram or the thing that ran over your foot. Simply say, whatever's there it's an event until I judge it to be otherwise. Everything is steering you in the direction of your purpose. Everything. And you are not a victim of anything. And therefore, you have the power. And any reaction to another person, to a parent, to a sibling, to a child, to any reaction to ISIS in the world, any reaction disempowers you. So it's really important, this last step, to empower yourself, to know that every step you take is a step you choose. And even if it leads to somewhere you don't really think you wanted to go, know that you chose to go there. Know that somewhere subconsciously you deliberately chose to be where you are. If you're poor, it's because you valued going for a jog, or valued those shoes more than you valued money in the bank. You chose. It's not a victim mindset. And this is a big step in life. So this is Chris Walker. Have a great day. Bye for now.